second guard, a 6'2" freshman from Rego Park, New York, number 12, Kenny Anderson. And introducing the head coaches for Minnesota in his 4th season with the Golden Gophers, Clem Haskins. And for Georgia Tech in his 9th season with the Yellow Jackets, Bobby Cremins.
Yellow Jackets and Gophers ready to do battle here in New Orleans. Will be back. That's no good. And Brown has it up the sideline. And after a scramble, Scott has the ball. Anderson around Lynch. What a move by Kenny Anderson.
That's where he can get you. If the game gets wide open, Kenny Anderson can really...
6 points for Burton, and we have a tie at 9. Kenny Anderson.
Get anywhere he wants on the court, Greg. I'm telling you, as good as anybody I've ever seen at the point guard spot, getting to where he needs to get.
After a cold start, the Yellow Jackets. McNeil made Shikanjansky adjust his shot. Here comes Anderson.
Got to get back.
A freshman with the poise of his... Scott for Anderson. 24 to 18. It has been Minnesota that has been taking advantage of the up-tempo pressure thus far.
And they also, Greg, have been getting some good defensive effort, but more importantly, they've gotten some...
Down to Shikanjansky, who doesn't take long to put it up.
Georgia Tech will play behind you. That's why Willie Burton gets the ball in the paint, and Shikanjansky, they've got to start getting up front.
Nice pass from Kenny Anderson to Brian Oliver. Roommate to roommate. Burton for 3. Oliver has it. Here come the Jackets. Anderson around his man and nails it.
Nobody from Georgia Tech ever looked at him.
Burton has 11 with that 3. It's 37-28, and now the Gophers enjoying their biggest lead, but back comes Anderson on the baseline. Bucket gives Minnesota the 9-point lead.
Got a 5-second call.
Take a look at Kenny Anderson. We keep talking about how this young man is quick, Quinn. You maybe don't realize it until you have to try and defend him.
Well, this is after a behind-the-back pass, and he gets on the defense so quick. Shikanjansky can't cut him off, and he goes in the trees with the big people still able to get it down. I mean, he does. He gets at you so quickly that you don't have a chance to react. He puts you on your heels.
Willie Burton with 16 points now, and again, back down court in a hurry. The block by Burton won't count. That'll call it a goaltend. 3:27 to play.
He comes in, does Mario. Give a break to Melvin Newbern. Having to guard Kenny Anderson is enough for 2 people. They're going to give him a break.
Points for Anderson. 46-39.
Big Greg, they're starting to be a little more aggressive out on the front.
Bond to the baseline, missed everything, 2-on-1, and now Burton joins the fray. Anderson, change of pace. Oh, what a shot. And Mario Green called for the foul, and he doesn't think he's guilty.
Well, if you let Kenny Anderson get into an open court game, you're at his mercy because he can stop and make a decision. It helps everybody getting back to protect.
Three-point play by Anderson.
Clem Haskins, Clem the Gym, they used to call him.
Baseline, losing the handle was Newbern, and here comes Anderson. Foul. Jim Nance, Mike Francesa will be bringing you the complete look at the Final Four picture from our studio in New York, and another 53 seconds coming up at halftime.
1 shot, guys, 1.
Mike Francesa probably has another one of those neat ties today, don't you think?
Mike Francesa is doing all right with his ties. I'll give him credit.
Anderson now 5 out of 5 from the ball. That's time remaining in the half on the lower right of your screen.
They're going to go a 2-man game right here and try to get Kenny Anderson and Dennis Scott involved.
Long three-pointer, he nails it. 2 seconds. The long throw to the other end is overthrown, and that'll do it for not a bad half of basketball. Here first half with the score Minnesota 49, Georgia Tech 47. And CBS Sports coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship continues after this message. Does that mean create less?
No, it by no means does. It gives him an extra option because now he not only can pass and shoot, but he can dribble at the same time. You know what I mean? You're a triple
on Anderson. Throws up an out-of-control shot that hit nothing, and here comes Georgia Tech with a chance to take the lead. McNeil, nice move down the lane. On Richard Coffey, and there's a man that the Gophers can ill afford to lose.
Well, he's pretty much the spirit of the team is Richard Coffey because he plays so hard. He expects to lead by example. And after going to the service, I would imagine he's gone through much more difficult situations than this.
Mentioned he was in the Army for 3 years. He grew 5 inches in those 3 years in the Army. Up ahead of the defense is Willie Burton, and he strips the ball out of bounds, and it belongs to Minnesota.
At the top of the second half, Greg, but they're not putting them back in. They're a little too anxious. I think you get surprised when you get offensive rebound.
Dennis Scott for 3.
To Scott, so he doesn't have to take the shot off the dribble.
Minnesota is clicked for 14 points off of those 12 Georgia Tech turnovers. Look at Anderson handle the ball in the backcourt.
Boy, he's handling, I mean, it's like an extension of his hand.
Top of the key, Oliver. Missed the 3-point short, hits the rim and goes over the basket. And here comes Anderson.
Scott in the middle.
Just amazing to watch him handle the ball.
He just gets anywhere he wants to get, and that's what makes it so amazing. Because it puts pressure on the defense. See, they'll run this play, and if you don't guard Dennis Scott, he'll come back and shoot. At that time, Kenny took
it. 77, 73, 52.
This 1-3-1 is a good defense when you want to keep the ball and trap at it out of it occasionally. Like it's Kenny Anderson's hard to trap, but this one place where you can keep an eye on Dennis Scott.
Scott, oh, what shot.
Think the foot's all right?
And we have seen yet another outstanding performance by Kenny Anderson of the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. I guess the question remains, can he play the game, Quinn?
He answers the question every time. And if you notice, with the exception of this game right now, still playing, his numbers have increased. So when it gets on the line, Kenny Anderson stands up to play.
Anderson looking for Scott down low. And Bond all over him. Anderson for 3.
Got to get out there. Everybody became so concerned about Scott. They left Kenny Anderson open.
28 for Anderson. 5-point lead for Georgia Tech with 2:45 to play. And a timeout for Minnesota. Big scoring game still. Kenny Anderson, the freshman for Georgia Tech, showing that he is going to be a big-time player for a long time.
Well, I think that is definitely the case that Kenny Anderson played well, but Brian Oliver struggling, still able to get into the scoring. But what we saw was, as a rule, Kenny Anderson had the tempo pretty much where he likes to have it. He moved it up when he felt the team was running. They were turning the ball over. He wisely started bringing it back out. Then Dennis Scott got hot. And once you got a player like Scott getting hot, Anderson handling the ball, that gives Georgia Tech a great duo as well as Oliver getting hot on his side.
I recall seeing one national publication prior to the tournament that said Kenny Anderson is too young to have very much impact.
Well, clearly that's not the case. He reminds me of, when I said Nate Archibald, he reminds me of Nate at about 24 and 25 years old. This young man, obviously only 19 years old, got great savvy. Getting in there, making the same shot. He obviously missed it, but that's why the timeout was not taken. .29 for Kenny Anderson, 8 out of 9 from the free throw line. And one of the times you can think, well, this is a freshman. I'll put him on the line anytime if you're about to print him.
30. No timeouts remaining. They need at least a 2 to tie. Kevin Lynch out of the corner. Georgia Tech on the way to Denver. defense here. Kevin Lynch skirting the defense. A three-pointer would win it here.
Well, the three-pointer would win it, but what he did is he got caught going in that corner. McNeil just made it too difficult for the shot to happen as well as Lynch would like it to.
Bobby Crimmins.
He looks like he's a little bit numb about it. You know, it's like, yeah. Now on the other side, his wife is much more emotional.
We're going to Denver.
Going to Denver.
You could say they're happy campers. Dennis Scott just 18 points in 45 minutes. Friday night comes up with 40 today as Georgia Tech advances to the Final Four. Once again, the final score, Georgia Tech 93, Minnesota 91. And Georgia Tech on the way to Denver. Coming up next, Loyola Marymount and UNLV. Our Chevrolet most valuable players, Willie Burton of Minnesota, Dennis Scott of Georgia Tech. So for Quinn Buckner, I'm Greg Gumbel saying so long from the Southeast Regional in New Orleans. You've been watching CBS Sports coverage of the NCAA Championship. Back to Jim Nantz in New York.
All right, Greg, so we've got a double ACC appearance out in Denver. Duke joins
Buckner, Lethal Weapon 3, and Coach Bobby Crimmins, who's making his first trip to the Final Four. How's it feel?
It feels good. I got my father's good luck charm right here. It was a great basketball game. Minnesota's a very physical team, but these guys hung in there. Dennis was shooting Brian with the bad ankle. Kenny gave us a big three, but Dennis Scott was sensational. Great basketball game. I'm just really proud that we're going forward.
All right, Quinn, how about the lethal weapons over there?
Well, we'll start right here with Kenny Anderson. He came out, had a great game. He shot the ball. I thought your team, you control the tempo. Is that something you wanted to try to do?
Well, we knew Minnesota was very physical and very patient, and they run that offense extremely patient. So we just wanted to come out and play Georgia Tech style of ball, and that's my job, to get the tempo going up, and our fast break is really clicking today.
Congratulations. I want to holler here at Dennis Scott. Dennis, you had 40, you had 18 the other night, but you got it going here today.
First of all, I thank God, thank my mom, my brother. I see y'all in Denver. But I think tonight we just hung tough and we played together down the stretch, and we believe in each other. And Coach has confidence in us and it feels good to keep playing hard.
Good. You couldn't get your jumper going, but you seemed to take the ball to the basket, Brian. It looked pretty good.
Well, you know, my ankle being aggravated, you know, this tournament, I've been limiting some of the things I've been able to do. And I was just trying to go and help these guys here. I was able to get some good moves to the hole, and fortunate enough we were able to do it.
This threesome is definitely lethal. Got it back to you, Greg.
All right, Quinn. Congratulations, gentlemen. Have fun in Denver. That's it for now from the Louisiana Superdome, where Georgia Tech has won it 93-91. Let's take it back to New York once again in Jim Nantz. Jim?
All right, a great scene in New Orleans. So Lethal Weapon 3 outduels Bond, Walter Bond and company from Minnesota, and they're headed to Denver. We're going to come back and speak with Nolan Richardson.